end of May, early June, maybe end of June, they would pick up the cameras. And now I'm wondering, are we going to push this off? And I think it's the worst time to push it off because it's still so fresh. So you might as well keep catching everything that is going on. Like Ariana and Katie, especially Ariana, she's all over the place. She's like at one place and she's pitching chicken wings. The other place she's at Bloomingdale's. The other one she's at the White House. Like, roll the cameras.
Yeah, none of these reality stars, in my opinion, are bigger than the show. Whenever, like on The Bachelor, you'll see someone like Tayshia. She leaves the show because she got enough social media following that she can just prosper without the show. I don't see that happening here. The show is such a through line for everything that they do that I think my thought is the only thing that could keep them from wanting to go back on the show is some sort of deep mistrust between them and the producers. And I can't imagine Andy Cohen and the reunion exposing the producers. I feel like the producers are the only people that are going to be guarded here. So I can't imagine what it would be other than some grand conspiracy that a bunch of higher up people knew this was going on. But as we've seen, there's no way that Lisa Vanderpump and others would have known that this was going on because they would have prepared for this. No one was prepared for it. And right. no one in TV is going to not be prepared if they think there's a big earthquake coming.
That's what I mean is like, what else? Because they've already debunked the Raquel pregnancy thing. So unless it was production knowing, I either thought that or it would be potentially Lisa Vanderpump knowing something. But with the way that she's acting so shocked, they're not going to make Lisa look like a fool. She's an EP.
Yeah, and as a sort of new viewer of this show, I'm shocked the way Lala was speaking towards Lisa. I was like, oh, this is like they're higher up. I mean, the fact that they would get so mad at the way Raquel spoke to Katie's mom and then be so disrespectful to Lisa, their boss and elder and person who's given them every opportunity they have. I just, as an outsider, I watched that going, oh, if I were there, I would have called that out to be like, oh, really? We're going to get so mad at the way we're talking to Katie's mom, but then we're just going to, bite the hand that feeds here.
Right. Especially when Lisa was trying to give her opinion and she's like, I didn't ask for second opinion. She's like, well, I'm giving you my opinion. She's like, great. I'm rejecting it.
You're rejected. It's like, well, the show's not about Lala's opinion. The show's about a reunion and hearing from everybody involved. And what was the funniest part? I love how they break the fourth wall. The funniest part was Lisa goes, we're here for 10 hours. Calm down, everybody. Like, she's got such mature energy. She's like, we're going to get to it all. They all came out just like a bunch of, dogs bark, like those dogs when the police dogs come out of the car. And it's like, okay, calm down. It's going to be a long day. Your Adderall's not going to last this long if we just blow it all in the beginning moments.
And Lala was like, right away, she's like, that's okay. And we have the energy to last for 10 hours.
Yeah, it's just such a Hunger Games. They're all dressed up, spray tanned, the long fingernails. These fingernails, I'm telling you, this is going to sound sexist, but like my wife started getting the long fingernails. She can't do anything anymore. I'm opening she can't even flush the toilet. She had to get like this like screwed because we have the push down flush. Her fingernails can't, so when I see the women with their long fingernails, they're so useless up there. They're perfect. I mean, they look gorgeous, but it's just funny to watch the blue collar drama with the white collar outfits. You know what I mean?
You're like, what the fuck are we doing with it? This is the true definition of beauty is pain. Beauty is pain. All right. So as we move on, Tom Schwartz obviously does not have his timeline in order because he starts talking about it. And he's like, when did you find out? He's like, listen, in July, he confided in me. And then in August, he told me. And Sandoval's like, August, dude. And they're like, did you not get your timelines right? And Ariana made a good point. She's like, you were too busy coaching that rat when you should have been coaching this one. And for a fact, they all know the reunion's coming. They're all sitting down together. They're trying to get their stories straight. Tom and Raquel. That's why Andy wanted to do the separate one-on-ones. He wanted to pull them apart. He probably blindsided them with the one-on-ones, probably told them last minute. And then he probably just got them on the spot. That way he could fact check for everything that they said during the reunion in front of everybody else.
Yeah, and of course he does such a good job where he like kind of plays it off as like wanting them to each have their moment. But yeah, that's exactly what he's doing. And any time where there's a controversy, a detective is going to separate the potential criminals, and they're going to try to get them to say things. That's why you need a lawyer present. Sandoval didn't have a lawyer present. Schwartz didn't, and then he caught them. And I mean, I look at it as this: could it? And this might be naive of me, could it have been that Schwartz really didn't remember? I don't know. There are plenty of details to things in life I forget, but if someone's cheating, you would think that that's such a big deal that you would remember where you were when you found out and this and that. So most likely, yeah, they just didn't have their story together. And Schwartz, like we said last time, he is just stuck in the middle of this. I mean, what do you do? Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? In most scenarios in life, somebody would defend their friend, tell a white lie, whatever, but it's not done with Andy Cohen with timestamps and video and 10 years. I mean, the editors on this show, the archival footage they have, this show I'm assuming has a relatively small budget, is crushing the edit. They are just doing such a good job with how they're covering all of this.
No, I mean, you're right, but they have been around for so long at this point. They have the footage, which is crazy. All right. So as we move on to another situation that got brought up, since we're all feeling bad for Tom Schwartz right now, was Katie and Tom's divorce. Now, we got the friend code issue. He was saying that he was at the lowest point of his life. And then you saw where he's like, dude, I was going broke. And Katie's like, it doesn't matter. My one thing with you was to not hook up with someone in the friend group. He's like, what does that matter? You were still in our bed, leaving our house, hooking up with other people while we were still living together and going through a divorce. She's like, it's different. For you, it seems like there's a lot of double standards here, but for you, do you see more her side of this or his side?
Well, I'll tell you this. Just like anyone who watches this with their significant other, my wife and I, this specific issue led to not a fight, but she was like, how are you siding with him? I think he violated the boundary that they both agreed to. And I think that she overreacted past what the punishable offense should be. He kind of apologized. I think he apologized. And he was like, yeah. But it kept on getting dragged on. And he can't win Katie's approval. And I think he wouldn't have won her approval anyway. This is just the thing that a divorced couple is going to fight about. I think he needs to stop worrying about her. And I think that's what he did when he violated her boundaries. He was like, you know what? I've been bummed out. I needed this. Should he have hooked up with someone outside the friend circle? Yeah, there's probably a million women he could have hooked up with outside the friend circle. But I just don't think her punishment fit the crime.
Right.
And the punishment being that she just dragged it on, and they're still talking. I mean, this was the whole season storyline before Sandoval broke.
No, it's true. And, like he did say multiple times, I didn't say anything about you hooking up with people while we were in the house together. So it did make people think for sure. And then another situation I didn't totally understand was I knew that Katie and Sheena had unsettled beef going into the reunion, but I remember them putting everything aside to rally around Ariana. And then you see where Andy Cohen starts talking to Sheena and Lala about how their relationship has started to now improve and build. So much so that Lala just bought the house that's exactly right next door to Sheena, right? So Andy asks, like, how does Katie feel about this? And Katie's like, to be honest with you, had I have done this to her, I think it would have been a bigger issue. Does this feel a little high school to you?
It all does. You're only as mature as the time you got famous. So we've got a bunch of people in their 30s acting like their early 20s. I don't even know. I mean, it's so far down when they're discussing this. In my head, I'm like, can we go back to the Scandival? Because this is just not important to me. It's so petty. It's like they're arguing over such little things when there's a much bigger story that's come along. So I don't know. I mean, there's so many different scenarios where everyone's going, well, if I did this, you would have done that. But they've all got such poor history with the way they've treated each other that you can't make one argument without calling somebody else for, oh, you cheated on her. Well, you cheated on him with her. And it's like, there's no morality barometer to judge it all by.